everyone, thanks for stopping by. I'm Kara Elizabeth, a 3-5 emotional manifester, here to provide you with your weekly energetic weather report via human design, a system that combines aspects of astrology, the I Ching, the chakra system, and the Kabbalistic tree of life. Now, every human design journey begins with looking up your unique human design chart, and you can do that at www.myhumandesign.com. Transits are the specific energies that are present in the universe at any given moment. I go over the sun and earth, the sun being our main experience and the earth being how we're grounding in it. And each transit tends to hang around for about 6 days. Now, my goal is to provide you with a general cosmic heads up on how you can expect to feel, what you can expect to experience, and how to best navigate your week. So if you're ready to go, let's get started. So, I'm chilling in the bathtub. It's almost 9 p.m. on the 6th line day of this current transit. And all I can say is all of the experiences that I've had this week are really asking me to just slow the fuck down. Really. At the end of the day. Like, I could go into all of my experiences, and I may talk about a couple just to give you some examples of what life has been like for me this week. But when all is said and done, the main message for me here is to slow down. And when I think I'm going slow enough, take it a little bit slower, please. Okay, so what do I want to talk about first? Okay, you know what? I know exactly what I want to talk about. Let's take a time hop all the way back to line 1. So the very first day that transit shifted into, let's see, what gates are we in? The 3420. So the 34 is coming out of the sacral, the 20 is coming out of the throat, and they actually connect with one another to make the full channel. So this was interesting. So if you are a fellow non-energy being, then you had a sacral this week, and I'm sure you were very much aware that you may have had a little bit more energy than normal. And I'm totally playing that down. You probably had an ass load of energy that you don't normally have. And I know if you're anything like me, you just had no fucking idea what to even do with yourself because you had so much energy. But I digress. Let's time pop back to the first line day. I knew without even knowing that transit had shifted that first morning that I woke up in it. Because when I tell you I woke up to one chaotic experience right after another, I was like, oh, okay. Hello, new energy. Okay, so this is what we're doing this week. And so it's I couldn't even get mad or upset. It was just hilarious because it was so blatantly obvious that something had shifted. And I'm like, oh, okay. All right. So this is going to be the path. Got it. All right. Curious to know what I'm going to be learning here for the next 6 days. But anyways, I digress once again. Let me get back on track. So the very first thing I wake up to that morning was my daughter. She's 7. She's also a manifester. And let me just preface this by saying she has been completely rebuking sleep lately. This has been going on for weeks. She's third line in this shit, I'm telling you guys, even though she's not a third line. But she just refuses to go to sleep because she doesn't want to have a nightmare. She is so afraid she's going to have a nightmare that she will not allow herself to fall asleep at night. So I don't know if this is some kind of night terror or whatever, but I've got it under control. And I'm just kind of letting her play in that for a minute And anyways, that's not what I'm talking about. So wake up first thing that morning to her, and she's just crying. She's so upset. She's crying. And, it's like a whole, like, meltdown central over here because she's exhausted. She hadn't slept. She's not allowing herself to rest. So it's like just getting worse and worse. And I know, like, if you have a manifestor in your life, or you know me well enough to know that, like, tired is not cute on a manifestor. Just saying. Like, it's not cute, pretty, or any type of nicety at all contained in a exhausted manifestor that has gotten no rest. So we'll just leave it at that. But that's how I started the first line of this transit. And then so I get up, I get her under control and get her all settled and comfortable in her room, tuck her back in, try and talk to her and explain to her she needs to rest. Well, then Salem starts crying, which, at this time it's normal. He wakes up around the same time every morning wanting to eat. So this was nothing new, but it just happened immediately following the settling of my daughter. So I make his bottle, I rush in, get him all set up, feed him, change his diaper, get him all settled, and get him back in the bed and, keeping him under his routine, his morning routine. So all of that's finished. And then immediately following the settling of my 9-month-old, I noticed that my dog, Taco, he's a little Chihuahua, he has regurgitated something that looks like lasagna. I don't even know where he would have eaten that because we do not feed him table food. But he's regurgitated something thrown up right next to my side of the bed on the floor. So you can kind of see like how this was going. It was just one thing after another. It was just like one mess after another. And so, I cleaned that up. And then quite honestly, now that I'm talking about it, I can't even remember what happened after that. So I was probably by that time just really exhausted and wanting to lay down. But that is really how each one of my days started in this transit this week. It started in a very chaotic way. And I think what it was telling me, at least in this moment, this is what I believe it was telling me. It could change after I've had time to like really sit and process this a little bit more. But I think what it was telling me is just like, take everything step by step, like, take it day by day, take it easy on yourself, let go of the pressure. Yes, you have a to-do list now. You woke up with this to-do list that you didn't even know you were going to have to do and take care of. But let go of the pressure. Take it like step by step. Everything will get done in perfect time. No need to rush. No need to get frazzled, which I will say, like, I am pretty surprised at myself. Because, normally these would have been scenarios, like, especially just happening one right after the next. And this, like, went on for days, obviously, because this transit is 6 days long. So I'm, like, actually, like, really proud of myself. And I just want to give myself a pat on the back right now. Because there was only, like, a couple of times that I actually just felt, like, so frazzled and exhausted by what was happening. But other than that, it was like I was just really just taking it step by step. And it was like I couldn't help but just laugh at all of the chaos and all of the uncertainty around me as far as like, okay, what's next? Oh my God, okay, what am I going to wake up to tomorrow? It was just so interesting that, how just for me, like how I showed up in that. Like I showed up in a very like playful, innocent way most of the time. And the times that I didn't, it was really my own doing. Because now I'm going to talk about what else was coming up for me this week. So I was noticing like the message that I'm getting to slow down, and the very first message that I shared with you, it's going to come from these experiences. So pay attention. Okay, so I can't tell you guys how many times, because, okay, if you know me and you follow me on any sort of social media, you know that I am always present in my stories. I am always recording myself, posting things. I'm always up in those stories. Okay, and if you don't know, now you do. But let's just say this was one of those weeks where I was just like recording. Oh, I hate it. Let me re-record. Okay. I hate that too. Let me re-record. That's not how I wanted to say this. Let me re-record. And it was just like over and over and over. And it was just like me expending all of this energy to the point where like I either just like said fuck it and just posted it, or just like it didn't even post it at all. Like it was really just me like exhausting myself. So I mean that could have partly been like because I had the sacral, and so I may have been needing to just burn some energy with just some random task, which is fine. Like I give myself permission to do that. It was just more of like something that I observed in my behavioral patterns this week for myself, because typically, just for authenticity's sake, anytime I start to record something or like record myself, just for example, making coffee, I do that almost every morning. It's like my morning ritual is just to record myself making coffee and post it in my stories. And I just like it to be as authentic as possible. Whatever I decide to talk about that morning, it's just I try to keep it as organic and real as possible. And, none of it's scripted. Like I get on there just not knowing what to say. And this week was really hard for me to do that because at the end of the day, after kind of sitting with this for a little bit, it's because I was almost overwhelmed with urges this week. And I had a hard time handling that as far as like giving myself enough time to even process the urge, because I'm an emotional wave. So even though I'm a manifester and I'm meant to act on my urges in the moment, I'm also an emotional wave that is also meant to wait. We also need time. And so it's this like interesting dynamic that goes on inside of me in any given moment. So it's like having the desire to follow the urge and act on it in that very moment, but yet having this inner knowing of like, or not even this inner knowing, but just having the emotional wave and having to almost force myself to take a time out and process. And I wasn't giving myself enough time this week. So it was like creating all of this chaos and this like almost clusterfuck of shit that I was doing. And I was just like running around in circles with some of these things that I was having these urges to do and not giving myself enough time to figure out, okay, do I want to follow this urge now? Do I want to do this right now in this moment? Or do I want to wait and do this later? It's like I wasn't even asking those questions or giving myself enough time to really figure that out. It was just like, oh, I have an urge. I need to do this now. Oh, I have another urge. I need to do this now. I need to do this. I need to do that. It was fucking chaos. And this message may even be coming out very chaotic. Hell, I don't know if this is going to make sense to anybody other than me, because this is also me processing my week with you in real time. So anyways, those were my main experiences this week. It was just a lot of unexpected and a lot of ideas and urges, and me not allowing myself enough time to really sit with them and figure out what I wanted to do. And so what came from these experiences for me was, number one, check in with myself first before just going all willy-nilly all over my urges. Just pause. just for a brief moment and check in with myself first and just ask myself, do you have enough energy to do this right now? Is this even really what you want to do right now? Etc., etc. Just really take a brief moment and just check in first before taking action and, potentially wearing yourself out. Number 2, it's also reminding me of yes, you're doing great, with trying to follow your urges, trying to tap back into who, remembering who you are, continuing to release these old behavioral patterns that do not serve you anymore. And you're doing a great job. You're doing everything right. You are always correct, even when you're not. You're always correct. You're always right. But here's another area where you can improve your process a little bit. So, at the end of this transit, I am freaking exhausted as shit. That's why I'm in the bathtub. I'm resting my bones. My body is so sore. It's so hurt just because I really pushed myself to the max this week. But I'm so grateful for the experience because it just showed me some areas that have room for improvement. And it's also helping me just become better and better and better. Just becoming a better version of myself. And this was just a way to tap even deeper into the work that I'm already doing. And so in all of this mess and chaos this week, I can breathe such a huge sigh of relief right now because I am so at peace with everything that happened and the way that this played out and all of the information that it showed me. So grateful. Which brings me into what the 34, which is our sun transit this past week, what that was all about. And in a nutshell, it brings with it achievement and also tapping into loving the feeling of achieving things and also feeling best about ourselves as we do achieve things. Isn't that interesting? It's like this energy brought me so many things to do. But I think I had the hardest time really tapping into, okay, what is for me? I've got all of it. I've got an abundance of things to do and an abundance of, potential things to achieve, all of these tasks to achieve. But my issue was, not even an issue. It was just knowing what the heck ones am I supposed to do first? What am I supposed to do in this moment? What about this moment? And that was where I struggled a little bit this week. But at the end of the day, I can breathe my sigh of relief. I feel like this week was such a success. And so ultimately that's what this energy is all about. And so hopefully you who are listening now, I'm hoping that you are also tapping into that sense of achievement from this week and whatever it is that you were called to do and whatever your experience was. I hope that you at least leave this week with some sense of satisfaction in that. And with that being said, I am feeling called to end this week's transit discussion on that. Wait a minute. Actually, I want to leave you with a little something to contemplate. So this is something that my mentor Jen actually posted this morning in the Perfectly Balanced Co group. And I really want to leave you guys with this because it really helped to tap me into this week's experience. And so maybe it will do the same to you. So she says, what did you learn from this transit, gate 34? So as you practiced focused action this week, what insights have you gained about the balance between intention and presence? How does this affect your productivity and fulfillment? Sit with that. See what comes up for you. And leave me a comment if you want to, or not. I don't really care. But with that being said, I will see you guys next week. Don't know what day. I'm just going with the flow here. Going with my flow over here. All right. Love you guys. Bye.